eri-tv broadcasting from Canada. I am Sandra Asante. Today we'll be looking at UN's confirmation of military forces blocking aid in Ethiopia's Tigray region. So don't go anywhere, I'll be back after the break. You're welcome back from the break. So the United Nations has confirmed that military forces are impeding humanitarian access to parts of Ethiopia's war-torn Tigray region after an exclusive CNN investigation to reveal that Eritrean troops were coordinating with Ethiopian forces to cut off critical aid routes. A CNN team traveling through Tigray's central zone witnessed Eritrean soldiers, some disguising themselves in old Ethiopian military uniforms, blocking aid to starving populations more than a month after Ethiopia's Nobel Peace Prize winning leader Abiy Ahmed pledged to the international community that they would leave. In the United Nations first statement confirming the obstruction of aid, spokesman Stefan Dujarric said Wednesday that blockades by military forces had severely impeded the ability for assistance to reach rural areas where the humanitarian crisis is worst. Of the 3 million people targeted to receive emergency shelter and non-food items, only 347,000 people, that is about 12%, had been reached since 3rd of May. With the start of the rainy season, our humanitarian colleagues warn that it is critical that aid agencies can provide minimal dignified shelter for the displaced, the statement also added. At least 5.2 million people out of 5.7 million in Tigray are in need of emergency food assistance, according to the UN and Ethiopian government. US officials estimated that as many as 1.25 million people live in areas humanitarian workers cannot access. Between March 27 and 5th of May, the government, the World Food Programme and other partners provided food aid to more than 1.2 million people in 32 districts. Dujarric added that the situation was fluid and unpredictable. So now let's look at the aid being used as a weapon on the war in Tigray conflict. About 5.2 of Tigray's 5.7 million people are in need of food assistance, the United Nations spokesman said on May 12th. US officials estimated that as many as 1.25 million people live in areas humanitarian workers cannot access. On April 21st, after being thwarted repeatedly by Ethiopian and Eritrean troops, a CNN team reporting with the permission of Ethiopian authorities traveled from the regional capital Mekelle to the besieged city of Aksum, 2 weeks after it has been sealed off by the military. An aid convoy also made a 7-hour journey to the place. Many aid agencies are still being barred from the besieged city, where one of the few hospitals operating 4 miles is running out of essential supplies, including oxygen and blood. Humanitarian workers in the region told CNN all this. So at the Aksum University Teaching and Referral Hospital, CNN interviewed the father of 7-year-old Latibrahan from Chile, who was being treated for malnutrition. Like many other rural border towns, Chile has been blocked off from receiving aid since the conflict began 6 months ago. Humanitarian workers say famine could have already arrived there and they could have no way of knowing about it. US said to distribute supplies to residents in the town of Hausen in central Tigray, who hasn't received much needed aid for 2 months. So based on the guest work, there is a sense that in these areas, that we are not able to access out in the countryside. For instance, places are falling into pockets of famine, but we are not able to verify that part of the problem that we are going through. Thomas Thompson, the WFA's emergency coordinator, told CNN. The fighting in Tigray erupted during the autumn harvest season following the worst invasion of desert locusts in Ethiopia in decades. The conflict has plunged the region even further into severe food insecurity, and the deliberate blockade of food risks mass starvation. A recent report by the World Peace Foundation warned Eritrean soldiers have been blocking and looting food relief in multiple parts of Tigray, including Sambri, Tigray, southern west of Mekelle, according to the leaked document from the Emergency Coordination Center of Tigray's Abiy-appointed interim government obtained by CNN. In a PowerPoint presentation dated on April 23rd, the center states that Eritrean soldiers have also started showing up at food distribution points in Tigray, looting supplies after our beneficiaries became frightened and ran away. That report was corroborated by humanitarian workers in Tigray, who said they had protection issues around distributing aid in some areas, as civilians were later robbed of aid by Eritrean soldiers. Emily Darkin, who leads the U.S. Agency for International Development, the USAID Disaster Assistance Response Team in Tigray, also told CNN that she had received reports of health centers being looted, which was contributing to some of the dysfunctionality of the hospitals. Eritrean's Minister of Information, Yamane Maskel, has rejected these claims. Eritrean's Minister of Information, Yamane Maskel, has rejected these claims. Following CNN's report, U.S. aid on Thursday called again for full unhindered access to Tigray. We are seeing a trend towards more restricted humanitarian access in Tigray, spokesman told CNN. For example, as of May 12, access to Axum is possible, but inconsistent across our partners and changes on a day-to-day basis. We have called for full unhindered access consistently since the start of the crisis. This is absolutely critical for the humanitarian community to scale up its response efforts to save lives and alleviate suffering in Tigray. CNN reported Wednesday that Eritrean troops, in coordination with Ethiopian forces, had once more closed off key aid routes in the center of Tigray. Thank you so much for watching today's edition of Editorials. My name is Sandra Asante. You should have a great day.